In today's video, I'm going to be changing the oil and filter on this Smart Fortwo 451. Here are the parts for the job. So we've got a genuine smart oil filter. There's a sump washer in there as well, and also this Quantum 5W30 Platinum Plus oil, which is great value, really good oil. It's always a good idea to get the car up to temperature, take it for a really good drive, and then leave it to sit for 10 minutes. Vehicle is jacked up, it's on an axle stand. You can do this without the vehicle being raised, but it's just a lot easier if you get the vehicle up in the air. Saves a lot of crawling about. So view from the back, we've got the oil filter just here. You can see the sump drain plug right there. To remove the sump drain plug, you need a 24mm socket. Ideally a shallow one like this, not a long impact socket, as there is an insufficient clearance between the drain plug and the axle tube here. Now it's worth stating that there is, on these cars, always a risk that this will crack here when you go to undo this, particularly if the oil hasn't been changed for a very long time. It is quite a weak point. If it does crack, you do need a whole new sump, which is obviously a much bigger job, so before undertaking this job, just be aware that this can happen. Alternative is to suck the oil out through the dipstick tube, as you used to have to do on the old Smart 450s that didn't have a sump drain plug, like a Pella pump, which is what you may have seen me use in other videos. I recently changed the oil on this. I say recently, it was a year ago now, and I did torque this up to the correct setting, so I'm hoping that this won't be a problem for me today. While that oil continues to drain out, I'm now going to remove this filter. Now you can either do it by hand if you're strong, or you can use a strap wrench like this, or even a pair of water pump pliers to get around it. The sump drain plug has this little inbuilt gauze filter thing here, so I'm just going to give that a quick blast out with some brake cleaner, although I can see it's really clean because this oil hasn't done many miles. See here the sump drain plug washer as well, I've got a new one of those. At this point I'm going to lower the car down so it's level, to ensure that we get all the oil out of here, because at the moment this sump drain and the oil filter opening are elevated. They're higher than they would normally be if the car was sat on a level, so I'm just going to level this car off and we'll probably get quite a bit more out of that sump there. As I thought, quite a bit more coming out. Fitting the new sump plug washer. Just a smear of fresh engine oil around the oil filter seal. spin on the new filter, do it hand tight, and that's sufficient. Refit the drain plug, and that needs to be tightened to 65 Newton meters. Quick blast of brake cleaner just to clean everything up. That evaporates off nicely, leaves everything good as new. These engines are really prone to getting covered in sort of dust and grit. I think it's because they're at the back and everything flicks up from the back wheels. So I always like to give this a blast with some brake cleaner because we don't want anything nasty going down there once we remove this. And now we just add just under 3.5. I think the official capacity is 3.4 litres, although I've usually found that doesn't bring it up to the maximum on this particular engine. But we'll see how we go. Once again, my finest Pyrex jug from the kitchen makes another appearance on my channel. That's 3.4 litres in there, the official capacity. I'm now going to start this up. That's halfway between minimum and maximum, having put in 3.4 litres, so I think it will need just a little bit more. I have let that settle for a while. I don't want to go mad though, because I don't want that to settle further and end up above the maximum. So I'm just probably going to put another 0.2 in there. Three-quarters of the way between min and max. I'm going to leave it at that. That's it for another video. Nice fresh oil in the Smart. It took 3.6 litres in the end, and that's between the minimum and the maximum, three-quarters of the way between, which is where I want it. I'll let that settle overnight and have another look. I don't really want to overfill it because then I've got to drain some out, which would be annoying, so I can always add more oil later. Those of you may be watching thinking, why did he take the wheel off? You didn't need to do that. And no, I didn't, but I wanted to bring you the best video I could. I wanted to get some good shots of the drain plug, and again, you can do this job with the whole thing on the ground, the wheel on, and just crawl about under there, but the accessibility isn't the best because it's so low to the ground, and it would have been very difficult to have got a decent video doing it that way. So still more to come on the Smart. I still have this compressor, this used compressor that I bought. It's genuine. I need to fit this at some point. I did have a look under there today, and it actually looks like the accessibility is worse than I had expected. It does look like a cow to get to. I've got the belts here ready, and also the seals for where the aircon pipes join this compressor. As you know, I had to cut the old aircon belt to stop the compressor from turning because the noise was horrendous in the failure. Do feel free to check out the earlier videos on the aircon. I will put links to them at the end of this video. Do feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'd just like to say a great big thank you to those of you who already have subscribed. It's always great to read your comments about your cars and what you think of my videos, and it's always great to respond to them when I can. I'll see you again in another video very soon. Meantime, thank you and goodbye.